Hello and welcome to BBC World News. The Indian Army has accused China of carrying out what it called provocative military movements in a disputed part of the common border in Ladakh. China says its soldiers never crossed the line of control and that the two are in communication about conditions on the ground. Both sides have amassed thousands of troops along the border following recent tensions in the region. In June, a military clash between the two left at least 20 Indian soldiers dead. Well, a short while ago, the Chinese Foreign Ministry denied again that its troops violated the status quo. Have a listen.
Chinese border troops always strictly abide by the line of actual control and never cross the line. Border force troops from both countries have maintained communications regarding the situation on the ground.
That was Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson there. Well, let's get more from our South Asia editor, Anbarasan Ethirajan. Anbarasan, just tell us more about this latest escalation.
The fact that the Indian Army has issued a statement immediately after this, what they describe as an attempt by the Chinese to unilaterally change the status quo on the border near Ladakh region in the northern part of India shows how serious it is, because it happened over the weekend, according to Indian media reports, where the Chinese troops were trying to move into the Indian territory, but they were stopped by the Indian soldiers. You have to remember, after the June clashes in which 20 Indian soldiers were killed, thousands of troops, tens of thousands of troops have been deployed both by India and China. They are on an eyeball-to-eyeball situation. The situation there is like very, very tense. And both sides have moved in a lot of armaments, including fighter aircraft close to this border area. Now, the China has denied this accusation, saying that they do not cross the line of actual control. The issue is, both countries differ on where this line of actual control lies, because China's perception of line of actual control lies very much into the areas claimed by India. At the same time, the India's line of control, actual control perception, is very much into where the Chinese are. So the two countries have a differing perception, even though for 40 years the borders remained quiet, occasional tensions on the border. This time, the situation seems to be serious.
And since those tensions in June, Anbarasan, the two countries have been trying to talk to diffuse the situation, but still things are simmering.
The Indian side has been maintaining that, they have a talking at the ground level, that military commanders on the border, they were having lots of negotiations about what they describe as asking the Chinese to go back to their earlier positions they were in April. At the same time, India's even political leaders, the foreign secretary and the ministers, were holding talks with the counterparts. Because of this coronavirus pandemic, the visits have been postponed and they were not able to hold direct face-to-face negotiations. But they have been holding talks at different levels, but there seems to be no progress. The latest incident only clearly shows that the tensions are still alive and both sides are very much aware of what's going on. And many people would point out to what else is happening in the other parts of the world, whether China is getting increasingly very assertive. You see in South China Sea, where it is now taking on the US, what's happening in Taiwan and its island dispute with Japan. So China's with its military and economic might and now using the opportunity to show that they will not compromise on their sovereign claims.
Anbarasan, we often hear that misunderstandings lead to escalations, which could lead to war. Is there a danger here that tensions could escalate further?
Both countries, they insist that they do not want war at this stage because both countries have been affected by this coronavirus pandemic. The economy has contracted in India. But in reality, if you look at the military strength, the Chinese military is far, far superior in terms of technology, in terms of numbers. So the military options for India is very, very limited. And that is why the Indian government has been very, very careful in not to escalate the situation. But then on the ground situation, when you deploy 30, 40,000 troops and they are, within a few hundred meters of each other, one may never know what will happen when the situation escalates, when both sides try to move into each other's territory. But what China feels is that this is the right time, for us to establish our claims. But they always insist that we do not cross into others' territory. But then, what is your territory? That is what India has been asking. But the decades of border talks have not been very, very productive.
Anbarasan, thank you so much for your analysis there and bringing us up to date.